Welcome back, marketers. Why is creating content important for your business? I'm guessing since you clicked on that title that you've probably experienced that it takes forever to get all your content done. You always feel like you're trying to figure out the next thing you need to produce, and there's no guarantees.
Whoa.
You could literally spend time creating a piece of content that nobody watches and it's just crickets. So I'm excited that you're here because today in this video, I'm about to make all your content creation dreams come true as I show you how to streamline your content creation. I'm Amy Walker and I help entrepreneurs just like you be able to create predictable, consistent sales through their organic marketing and their scalable sales strategies. I am going to make my case today for why content creation is such a critical part of your business. Like, you really do need to be creating content. So we'll talk about why, but even more importantly than that, I think we need to talk about how. How can you find the right topics to talk about? How can you make sure that your content creation isn't taking up so much time? And how can you really streamline the whole process? If you stay until the end, I'm gonna show you how I create one piece of content and then I turn it into 9 pieces of content. So you're really gonna wanna figure this out. It will save you a lot of time and a lot of headache.
Whoa!
Whenever I start talking with business owners about this, they're like, but can't I just sign up to a subscription service where they have all these pre-made posts and then I just schedule the pre-made posts to go out? Like, why do I need to create content? I'm a doctor, or I'm a massage therapist, or I'm a something, I'm not a content creator. Well, the reason why is because Google's too smart.
Well, here's the thing.
Google has AI software that every time you post an image, they know what the image is, they know if it's original content or if it's shared content, and they know exactly how many times that picture has been posted on the internet. They also know if it's been altered. Like, they're too smart. They're scary smart. And all of the algorithms, they favor original content. So anytime you make something, it is going to outperform that shared content. If you're creating your own content, it is going to perform better in the algorithm, which we need because we've got to stay top of mind. Your clients are inundated with marketing messages, and if they're not seeing you, they are seeing your competitors. I guarantee it. We want to make sure that you're in front of them and that you stay on their awareness radar. The other reason you need original content is because it does get better engagement. I volunteer with the Communications Council for my church. We actually work with about 8 different congregations in our area, and we have social media pages. And whenever we just share motivating quotes or an inspiring sermon video, it gets terrible engagement. When we actually put original content on, even if it's not good, it outperforms anything that we could possibly share. And people will comment, they'll like, they'll engage. It just gets awareness because it's real. It doesn't have to be well produced. It just needs to be real and it needs to be recognizable.
Whoa!
So what type of content should you be creating? I think there are 5 different types of content that you need to have in the mix on a regular basis. Number 1 is awareness, because not everybody knows that they need to buy from you. They don't even know that they have the problem. So awareness is anything that is bringing awareness to the problem that you solve. Let's use a real example. I have a client called Big Hearted Breeders. She breeds dogs and cats to be used as emotional support animals. And her awareness is oftentimes around the value of an emotional support animal. Sometimes people don't really know that, or they don't know that foster children are more likely to struggle with emotional challenges that could benefit from an emotional support animal, or they don't know what types of breeds are best. They're not very aware of the issue. So that's the first type of content she's going to create, is just information and bringing awareness to the conversation. The next type of post that you're going to want is an engagement post. This is something that is specifically designed in order to create conversation and engagement. We did one a couple weeks ago that performed really well, and it was, how do you like to consume your books? digital copy, hardback copy, or Audible. By the way, Audible one, everybody loves to listen, but that was a great post. It got a lot of comments, it got a lot of likes, it got a lot of conversation, and we want to create posts that are just specifically designed to do that, because what they do is they boost the performance in the algorithm. Next is informative or procedural content. So this is where we're starting to show, so we've been talking about the conversation, now we're starting to show how we do it. What's our information? What's our take on this? And so this is where we are positioning ourselves as experts in the field. So if Big Hearted Breeders is talking about the generalities of why you need emotional support animals, now we want to come back through and we want to talk about this is why we choose to breed the breeds that we do and why they're such great emotional support animals. This is how we prepare our emotional support animals and start the initial training process to get them ready for you. These are the actual puppies that we have. By the way, they are so adorable. And so you're being able to go through that process where you took them from awareness and now you're starting to show them why you. The fourth type of content is going to be your promotional content. So this is where you're actually saying, this pup is ready for a home. And you're starting to invite them to take action. Register for this, buy this, on sale now. It's time to buy. That's the types of posts that are going to be happening during that promotion period. And again, if all you ever had was promotions, you would have such poor engagement that it's not really going to do a lot for you.
Wow.
The fifth type of content is connection content. This is the type of stuff that makes them feel like they know you, they like you, they trust you. This is behind the scenes pictures of the family taking care of their pups at Big Hearted Breeders. This is your office staff having a fun party or a contest. This is you on vacation with your family. This is the type of content that really sets you apart. I met at a conference once a gentleman who was an orthodontist that did kind of happen to look like Will Ferrell. And so his clients told him that enough, like, hey, you look like the guy from Elf, that he actually bought an elf costume and then he went all through New York City posing in front of all of the places from Elf and was posting that content while he was on the trip with his family, and his patients were dying over it. Like, they loved it. That is the stuff that makes you go, oh my gosh, I'm so glad this is my orthodontist. And then you share it on your page and you say, this is my orthodontist and he's hilarious. So that personal connection type of content is what's really going to push everything over the edge. Now we're going to talk about how to produce it. The very first thing is we are going to batch content. Oh my gosh, do I love to batch content. Why spend the amount of time making one thing when you could spend the whole day and you could make 20 things? It's going to be easier, I promise.
Whoa!
Wow.
So the very first thing with batching content is you need to figure out when's the date, and you have to just block it off on your calendar. So little hint, when I make a YouTube video, I make no less than 12 YouTube videos. My rate in one day is 27, and it was a really painful day, and I'm not sure the content was good by the end, but that is my record in one day. Why? Because to get the lighting set up and to get my script set up and to do my keyword research, I might as well research 12, 15, 20 topics at once versus trying to do one and then set up the filming and then film. And I mean, it just makes so much more sense to batch. So if I'm writing a blog post, I'm going to write a bunch at once. If I'm creating a lot of shorts, I'm going to create a bunch at once. That is going to make a huge difference in you being able to get content out consistently, is to batch it and have it ready to go ahead of time. Now, the next thing with batching content, and this is really, really important, what is the easiest way for you to produce content? Is it video? Is it creating voice memos? Is it writing? Is it pictures? But your content has to start somewhere. And if you're not a writer and you get writer's block, but you could get on and make voice memos and you could speak out a ton of ideas all at once, that's where your content starts. I love video. Video for me is super fun. Now, I do love to write too, but I have found that if I start with video, I can create a lot more assets from it. Whereas if I start with writing, I can't quite get as many. If I start writing, like I write a blog post, I can turn that into probably like 5 posts. But when I start with video, I can turn it into 9. And I am about to show you how, because this is going to be like mind-blowing. If you are digging this content, please subscribe, hit the bell notification so that you can get notified when we release new content. And I always love when you actually like or comment. It's super fun to engage with you. Now we're here, the moment you have all been waiting for. How do I take one piece of content and turn it into 9 pieces of content? I am so glad you asked this question because it's really amazing. So I start with video, and I start specifically with YouTube videos. YouTube is the longest type of content in terms of creation because I do keyword research, and then I have to go and write my scripts, and then I film. And so it takes a lot of preparation work. So here's what I do. I do all of that, and then I film the video. Now, once this video is done, I will pause and I will take the exact same tips that are in my script, and I'll go and I'll do 3 30 to 60 second tips based on things that are in this video. That way I'm not having to think of more things to create content around, and it takes me all of anywhere between 1.5 minutes to 3 minutes to do. So and I'm already like, the makeup's done, the clothes are on, the hair is what the hair is. So I'm ready to go with it. Then what I'll do after that, so that's the original video. Now I've got 3 more pieces of content because I've got 3
Just the basics, please.
shorts that I can use for TikTok, Instagram Reels, or I can use on shorts on this platform. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to create long form. So those 4 pieces are my video pieces. Now I'm going to come back and I am going to create some additional written resources using a transcription service. So we use Otter AI. I can take all of my videos, I can upload them into Otter AI, and they will transcribe the videos for me. It's very affordable. I know a lot of people use Rev, but Otter AI is actually cheaper than Rev, and I've been very pleased with their transcriptions. So now I get this big messy transcription that has all of my ums and all of my times where I start saying a sentence and then I veer off and say something different, which drives my team crazy, but it is what it is.
Wait, I'm sorry. Wait, whoa.
From that, we're going to create an additional, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of content.
I'm sure you've got something good there. I don't know what the heck it is.
The first thing we're gonna do is create the long form post. These perform really well for me. A long form post with a picture of me is like, that's as good as it gets in our performance. It always outperforms everything except the short videos. So we're gonna create that based off of the tips that we have in that big messy transcription. Then we're gonna take the transcription and we're gonna put even more of it in, and we're gonna turn it into a blog post, which then we use the blog post also as our newsletter. So that's just the exact same thing used twice. And it's very similar actually to the long form post as well. And then we're gonna pull out a quote. Now, there are more than 1 quote per thing, so you could even bring this up to maybe 12 pieces of content, but you're gonna pull out quotes, and then you're gonna take those quotes and go put them on Canva graphics. And then we also can take the tips and we can make it into an infographic. Like I could take this and I could say, turn 1 post into 9, and I could create an infographic that shows the different types of content that you can create from 1 post. So we are really maximizing all of the content that we produce, and my effort is just initial in the very beginning. Once the content is created, I don't release all of it right at once. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go pre-schedule that content, because I mean, it's all around the same topic, right? So I don't want 3 shorts to go out right in a row where I'm wearing the same thing, talking about really similar topics. I want to space those out so I can pre-schedule and get everything put into position. So I am planned literally months in advance, and I am not having to worry about what are we going to do for content. It just becomes this content creation machine. Now, if you have been following my channel, you know that I am not a fan of trying to do everything on your own in business. And this is a really easy way to get a virtual assistant involved in that content repurposing. 1 person could repurpose all of this content for you and make it so that you just get to show up once, use the format that works well for you, and it turns into magically a ton of content. And if you're thinking that's too expensive and you can't afford it, that is simply because you haven't watched my videos on how to hire a virtual marketing assistant. If you are looking for more support in your marketing and getting it organized and really understanding what you need to be doing to hit your sales goals every month, I am going to recommend that you go download our Ultimate Marketing Calendar. It is my favorite tool for helping you understand your marketing and getting it organized. So now you know why is content important for your small business. The next video that you really need to go watch is marketing on a budget. What's the difference between digital marketing and social media? Because this content that you're creating could be used for either one. Super exciting. I can't wait to see you over there.